everybody, Elisa here with Rosie and another Vera Bradley bag of the day. Oh, my TV's on kind of loud. Let's mute that. I have to have the TV on all the time. So I had a video for I just hot on the heels of my fall patterns top 10, but it's really 12 fall patterns video. I had mentioned there that I was gonna try to knock out a Spooky Cats video, and I did. And I was going to oh, excuse me. I was going to load it up. I actually had started to do that, and I managed to get through to customer service again at Vera Bradley today, and really it just changed my attitude so much that I felt like I wanted to reshoot the video, just to give a shout out to these ladies at Vera Bradley, because I have been like this close to losing my shit with Vera Bradley and the customer service there over how they have been handling the custom bag fulfillment, order fulfillment recently. And I think compounding that problem is just the general frustration of how they've handled the Spooky Cats and the Howl-o-ween patterns from the get-go. But I talked to two great, excellent customer service ladies today at Vera Bradley. The first regular customer service woman, I think her name was Kim, and after she helped me, and was very nice, and I was calm, which was also good. Catch more flies with honey. Anyway, she offered, I didn't even ask, she offered to put me through to a supervisor whose name was Fran, I think, or Frances. Lovely woman. And she really, really restored my faith in the brand, I gotta say, because I was really feeling like it was tanking my faith in the brand. And just gave me a lot of good, very specific information on my custom orders, and that just put my mind at ease. So I felt like I shouldn't put a previous video up that I had filmed for Spooky Cats, because it wasn't too negative, but I am going to talk again about something I talked about in that video, because I still think it's relevant. But I just feel like I have a better mindset now, and so I felt like I wanted that to be in the video rather than the more negative mindset. That didn't seem as fair to the company when they did do something right for me today. And so this version of Spooky Cat, the Small Vera Spooky Cats tote, the Small Vera Tote, is from the online exclusive that they did at the start of last week, where they offered just the Small Vera Tote and a throw, and the tote sold out in like online in like less than a day. And so the throw, I think, is still available, and I highly recommend it. I will show it along with the original to compare it to. Sorry, I'm just looking over there because I see it. I threw it down on the floor in kind of a pile, and I'm thinking maybe that wasn't such a good idea with the dog hair and whatnot. Although that is very much in the spirit of the pattern. But this is something I talked about in my previous version of this video that I'm not loading up, and like I said, I think this is still a relevant issue, and so I wanted to mention it to get it out there into the ether. So it's really a shame that how they've handled these patterns from the beginning. First off, people probably are aware the history of the patterns, which are Spooky Cats, and they were calling the dog one Spooky Dogs way back in the day when they first just offered them as sort of one-off raffle prizes, and there were only a handful, maybe 5 or 10 of each, and you had to be a lucky winner. And so that's kind of off-putting to begin with, because you've got legions of loyal customers who then are unable to get these patterns that are very desirable, And, that's kind of a crappy way to treat your loyal customers, I feel like. Um, Sort of to tease them like that and then say, you can't have this. And for a long time there, the party line was, we're not going to be releasing either of these patterns for general consumption. And so you had big, groups of women who were just really bummed. And were begging, really, some of us begging in various groups that we're in for Vera to release these patterns for the general buying. And finally, they have done that now, but sort of in a weird way. They put them in the custom section of the website recently, and then very soon after that, they pulled the Spooky Cats one from the Small Vera Tote option, probably because they were thinking they were going to be doing this. And I have no inside information, but I'm guessing they were going to do the same thing, an online exclusive Small Vera Tote and a throw in Halloween. That would be if I had to bet good money on it, I would bet they're going to do that. I have no idea if they're going to do it, though. And so it's a shame the way they've offered this, right, with just a really limited print run in a way. I mean, that's a publishing term, but I'll use it here. And they'll probably do the same thing with Halloween. And so everybody knows now they have to just sort of be stalking the website. And when they see it up there, they have to order everything super fast or it's going to sell out. Because that's what happened with this, as I was saying. So, offering this pattern in the custom and then pulling it and then creating a web exclusive of this, I could see if I had thought there was no other way to get this pattern and I went online and I ordered a Small Vera Tote in the custom section and then all of a sudden this was available, so that's $120 I would have spent minimum to get that bag, and this was being offered for $80, I would be pissed off. And there were a bunch of ladies in one of the groups that I'm in who were saying just that. They were annoyed. And, compounding the problem was how they're having sort of trouble fulfilling their custom bag orders right now. But I do think it's a shame that they didn't seem to make a lot of stock in this for the online exclusive. And so, halfway through the day, the bag is sold out, and it seems like they're not restocking it. I mean, I haven't had anyone from the company tell me that directly, but I know other customers have reached out to the company, and the answer that they've gotten from the company is that no, they're not restocking this online. So that's it. Now it's back in custom as a Small Vera option, so you could buy the custom. You could make a custom bag for yourself again now with this. But not everybody can afford to make a custom bag, so that's kind of frustrating. And then to make such a limited print run of this online, web exclusive is kind of, this is my beef stemming back to how they handle Cat's Meow, where I feel like the company sets up a scenario, the environment for price gouging to happen on resale sites, and they know it. They go into it knowing they're creating that environment because they make these patterns very limited, and then people know on these resale sites they can price gouge because there will always be someone who will pay an exorbitant, ridiculous price for something. There'll always be that person. So Vera knows this. Vera Bradley knows this, and they go in anyway, and they do the same thing with this and Halloween, if they do with Halloween too, very limited. And that's frustrating because not everybody can afford to pay. I saw this online already, $400. Not everyone can afford to pay that. That's ridiculous. So I'm a little frustrated with Vera for doing that yet again with another one of these novelty prints that are very popular, and they know it. They know this is going to happen, and they create an environment in which it can happen when it's very easily avoidable. That's the frustrating thing, and I'm not really sure why they're doing that. And now you have a whole bunch. I mean, because they lose out on sales if they make this so limited, this print run so limited. They're not going to restock it. Two things are happening. You're limiting your own sales, which doesn't seem to make sense. And then you have a whole swath of women who are a whole chunk of your loyal customer base who feel like brokenhearted, really, that they missed out, that it sold out so quickly. They were going to order. I've heard people say, "Oh, I was going to order when I got home from work." They couldn't order first thing in the morning, so they were going to wait till they got home from work. By the time they got home from work, it was sold out, and now they're really upset that they couldn't get the bag. So I don't know why you would do that to your loyal customers. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So that's my thing about how they've handled these patterns, and that I feel is still valid. But my feelings about the customer service as it relates to questions about order fulfillment in the custom section of the website, I feel much better about that today than I did even yesterday. So I really appreciate Fran and Kim today helping me out. So to the pattern, and I will get to how great they were. Maybe if I remember, I might forget, but I just want to get to the pattern. It's funny, it's gray here today, but it might actually help how the bag comes out on screen. And I will show it in comparison to the original Cat's Meow, and like I said, the throws too. This is recycled cotton, and so it has the styling changes. So you're missing the nice edging on the top of the front pocket, and you're missing the piping along the straps and at the top of the bag. And so what's interesting about this is my the only Small Vera tote that I have that's recycled cotton. I'm not a big Small Vera fan because it's a little on the small side for me. I have a handful of them, not too many of them, because it does always feel a little precious for me. But I sort of ironically, the recycled version of it is sort of changing my mind about the bag a little bit, because I think it looked good packed up, but also the problems that the removal of the piping create on the large Vera don't seem to happen in such a pronounced way here. Probably because the bag is smaller and there's less fabric, especially the walls of the bag. So there's less heavy fabric to fall in on itself. Because without the piping definitely adds structure, both to help the top edge keep it a nice round shape, a nice smooth shape, and not buckle. But also, the piping on the edges of the straps, I feel like almost acted like some structure, like some scaffolding or stiffener, and helped the bag sort of stay upright nice and not flop around as much. And on the large Vera totes, that's what's happening without that piping. It's sort of falling in on itself more and looking slouchier. Doesn't seem to happen as much with this. This is empty now, but I did have it packed up. I was trying to pack it up earlier, and it just looks real nice and seems to hold its shape good, better than I was expecting. So maybe the Small Vera is the way to go now if I really love a pattern, but I'm not really crazy about the idea of a recycled fabric. If I need a pattern, So the first thing I want to talk about here is the background color. It is not blowing out as much in this filming as it was in my prior filming, which is nice. I haven't, as I said in my fall patterns video, I've been so overloaded with work. I really have been falling behind in watching Vera videos on YouTube. But I have seen some stills from videos on this bag and some regular photos of people's bags in this pattern, and it's blowing out. It's hard to photograph this, and even for me, when I was photographing it the other day to send a picture to a friend, I was having trouble. I had to play with my drapes, really adjust the light to get it to not blow out so much. Because if you just see some pictures of this online, you might think it's a very light background color, and it's not. It's really a bit warmer, a bit deeper background color. That is sort of accurate. So I was expecting it to be a much, almost like whiter gray. And so this, I'm relieved, because on my custom tote, I opted for gray trim, and I really agonized over it. I didn't want black, because I do feel, and I have seen people's totes with black piping, or they've done a thick black microfiber strap. I think that's a mistake. But I do think the black piping for me is just a little too strong on this, because the blacks are very soft in this. And so I feel like the black piping pulls the eye away from the cats, and I didn't want anything pulling the eye away from the cats, and so I went with the gray. And there is a lot of this deep gray. There are a number of grays in this, shades of gray in this. 50 Shades of Gray. I don't know why I cite that. I mean, I have never read the book. I think I have never read the movies. Seen the movies. I haven't read the book. Not interested. Just a little pop culture joke. But there are a lot of grays in here, and so I'm hoping that the piping will pick up those little touches, and it'll sort of make for a cohesive look altogether because of that. What's interesting about this background, in addition to that it's, a nice surprise and that it's not too bright, is that it has more than one shade of gray. I think it's just sort of two. There's like these lighter areas you can see there. Hold on, let me get myself boosted up here. So you can see these sort of lighter areas of gray in the darker gray of the background. And that's nice, adds some interest. Because I do feel overwhelmingly that this pattern is a little heavy on the black tones. And so it's nice to just get a little variety there, because there isn't a lot of color going on here. It's not like Halloween. People probably have seen pictures of Halloween, and that's much more colorful because you got the dogs wearing Halloween costumes. But of course, cats will never let you do that. Cats are not so amenable. Okay, so let me get this throw out of here because it does make this a little heavy. I will, like I keep saying, I will show the throws. So this is the original Cat's Meows, a large Vera Tote. I just lucked out and bought this in the store. I didn't have to pay gouge price for it. I almost didn't buy it. I sort of was standing there agonizing over it in the signature store, and it was the last one there, and then I just went for it because I had some coupon. I had discounts, so you can really see the size difference here. But also the background color is the first thing, obviously, that jumps out at you. This is a great background color. It's such an elegant, bluish gray. Really perfect, really excellent color choice here. And this, I always say, this is an excellent pattern. Well done all around. I'm not sure if it's just an optical illusion because the cats here are more solid black, but they almost look a little larger than the cats here, but that I'm not, I haven't really, gotten out my calipers. I haven't gotten out my tape measure to really confirm that. It might just be an optical illusion. So you can see, okay, Pupilas, maybe, you don't go all cray-cray here. Okay. So you can see there's a lot of white, more white in here and more variety in the colors of the cats for all in general. And so it does lighten up the pattern, which is nice. This is more in the sort of a flat black has a kind of a flat black look to it. And so I feel very lucky about the pattern placement because I think that's key here, and it can really, if you're, someone who is concerned with that, not everyone is as focused on that. I'm someone who's, sort of agonizingly focused on that. That's my background in fine art that does that. And so I was pleased with the pattern placement here because I felt like the white ghost cats were balanced, which is key because they kind of look like big marshmallows and they can really draw your eye, pull your eye around. And so if they're out of whack, if they're not balanced, that could be a problem for me anyway. But also I feel like I got a lot of like the calico cat and the fishbowl and the cat in the bag and the pumpkin and the moon, all those little touches of the little bits of color that are there, and the skeleton cat with the white bones. Dogs. I got, I feel like I got enough of those elements nicely placed and balanced so that the whole thing looks a little lighter. Doesn't look as, solidly black. I don't like that, Peaches, You don't have to. Let's not be toy hogs. Oh, Lord. Rosie, the other bone is up there. You can have it. The other bone is up there, Rosie. Oh, she can't see the bone. They're going to fight over this one bone when the other bone's... Good girl. Good girl. She found it. Okay. Crisis averted. Okay, so, I just felt real pleased about getting those touches of color, especially the fishbowl. I love the fishbowl. And I really I'm happy with the front pocket. Because as soon as I ordered it, I started like praying to the Vera gods that I could get a front pocket with the fishbowl, the pumpkin kitty, the cat in the bag, the bird cage, and I thought, oh God, my odds are probably slim to none that will ever happen. But it happened. And so I feel so, grateful, really happy with my front pocket there. No, I didn't get too much repetition. There's a little bit of repetition here with the skeleton cats, but I'm okay with it. I do like this little, this is a good, cropping here, the cat with the witch's hat on that little strip of fabric there. That's nice. So, I just want to point out, because I'm so in love with this fishbowl cat, the fishbowl cracks me up, because not only, and I do have close-ups of the cats from the throw loaded up on my Instagram now, so you can really see detail up close in those, which is nice, and throw is great. Get to the throw. But this, I love this fishbowl, not just for the color and the skeleton fish in there, but also you can see that there are bubbles, green bubbles. The water is bubbling in that fishbowl, sort of like a witch's cauldron. And I just love that. I think that's great. That's a great little touch. Like I said, whoever is doing this pattern, great job. Really a great pattern. So of course people are probably aware they've switched things out. Here you have your kitten with the ball of yarn. That's the cat with the witch's hat and the spider web right there. Instead of yarn, it's the spider web now. And I think the ghost cat is one of the cats in here that's sitting there and has like a neck, or a handkerchief around its neck. So they've just sort of swapped some stuff out, instead of this cat here. I love the electrified green cat jumping, and it's a spider. That's the cat with the cucumber from the original pattern. There's the yeah. There's a cat with a cucumber here. And there's also a cat with a mouse. So it could be that one. I'm not sure which specific one it is. There's also, I think, a cat with a mouse that's jumping. But anyway, just great. Little switches are just kind of fun, They have switched the color of the bird. The bird was pink, which was nice because it gives a little pop of color here. I feel like that they could have gone, instead of the black bird, maybe they could have gone with green. I would have liked to have seen a green bird, so there's an extra bit of color breaking up all the black and the gray. But it's still very cute to have the bird in there. And of course, that's the lining. So in the regular cat's Meow, people are aware of this lining with the pink birds everywhere. And the lining here, same thing with the bird cage, but the black birds, and birds almost have like a red eye. I don't know if you can see that there, but they do. They have like a red eye there. And of course, the calico is still there. There is a calico here. It's the same cat, but the coloring is just a little bit different. I did get the calico here. The calico here has some white in it. This calico doesn't have the white in it. And of course the Teacup Kitten, which is so cute. I have my Teacup Kitten anywhere in here. I don't know. I'm sure I do. Wow, it's hard to find. Yeah, there she is. Of course, I think she's a she. Why is it a she? Cats are, people always think cats are she's and dogs are he's. I know that as a dog walker. I've only had one male dog, that was Duke, my big love. All my other dogs have been girls, and everyone always refers to them on the street as he. How old is he? So anyway, and there's the Teacup Kitten now is the pumpkin kitten. So pleased to get that right in the front because, I mean, that's kind of the whole point of this pattern. And felt really lucky about the straps because the straps have the pumpkin too. And even when they're upside down, those pumpkins, they really help sort of, they still add that color element. That's nice. And there aren't any weird kind of like, you know, sometimes whatever's cut off on the strap will abut something, you know, in the body of the bag awkwardly and create a weird overlap. I feel like that didn't happen here. And just for people who might not be aware, because I know there was someone in one of the groups I'm in who was saying she loved the bag even though the strap was upside down. I think she maybe thought it was an error. And while that was happening, like when Best in Show came out, I made posts about how I saw a Vera Tote with the front pocket upside down. And when Hummingbird Park came out, I saw a Glenna Tote with the back panel on that bag was upside down. So stuff like that does happen, but that's not an error. The upside downness is not an error on the straps on the Vera and the Small Vera. It's a result of how the bag is constructed. And so the straps are sewn in on this seam in the bottom. And, you know, it travels up the side of the bag all the way up and then continues. This one piece of fabric continues down to the other part where it's so meets the seam again. And so it's just one long strip of fabric. So once it, you know, travels over your shoulder, it's going to be upside down, going back down the bag. And so I think, you know, if you've only been looking at these totes in patterns that don't have an obvious direction to them, you might not notice that, and it's fine. But it really does jump out at you when you have something with, you know, figurative pattern, something with recognizable animals in it. Then yeah, it's unfortunate that's going to happen. You're going to notice it. I don't think there's really any way around it except maybe to have, you know, a seam here and have the two pieces of fabric coming from that seam up top. But I don't know that you would want that. That's a join there that just, you know, eventually could fray or tear. You know, it's a weakness if it's a join there. So I can see why they're doing it this way. I don't know if there's any way around that. So very pleased with this. And again, really the background color, just great. And the treatment of it with that sort of variation of the two different grays being used in the background. It's almost like spooky, right? Gee, how appropriate. But I mean, like when you watch like a Halloween movie, a scary movie, you know, and there's mist and smoke at night, you know, and you can't see stuff. That's almost what it sort of harks back to, you know, that kind of idea, I feel like. So that's kind of nice about this pattern. I'm so excited. I mean, I'm not a huge like Halloween dress up kind of person, but I do love October because I don't know which channel it is, whether it's AMC or FX. There's always one channel that plays the movie Halloween a lot. Not the remakes, but the original first few ones. You know, the ones with Donald Pleasance. Love Donald Pleasance in those movies. But I think the first Halloween movie is great. And I'm not a huge like horror movie person. I like suspense movies and stuff. But I do have a little trouble with super scary movies and gore. It's hard to watch sometimes. But I love the Halloween movie. The original Halloween movie I think is really well done. And so I love to watch it every year. I get excited because I can watch it to my heart's content all October. Anyway, so those are the bags. I don't know if I forgot to talk about anything in here. Yeah, I don't have to go over, you know, every little change. I'm sure everybody's doing that. Everyone already got their spooky cats on, as I've been saying. I'm late to the dance, as usual, but just to give you, you know, a sense of, get a look at it, and this is really good light for the background color. So I'm really hopeful about get my custom with the gray trim. I should talk about that a little bit, my experience today. But with customer service, because those ladies really put my mind at ease. Okay, so this is the throw, the Cat's Meow throw. Again, related to what I was saying at the start of the video, you know, with the doing the limited editions and limited quantities, I was very bummed because I missed out on this. And I would look for it on resale sites, and it was always some exorbitant price, out of my price range, and I was like, forget it. And then I just kept looking, and finally one popped up that wasn't too badly price gouged, and I could swing it, and I got it. And so then when Best in Show came around, I just ordered it right away. I just knew, better to order it. If I don't like it, I can return it. But that feeling of missing out is so, it upsets people. It really makes people, people are like heartbroken, like I said, that they can't get their cats or whatever, and it's so avoidable. So anyway, again, great background color, right? Just an elegant. I mean, I am very partial to these sort of deep grays, especially if they have a bluish cast. I think they're very elegant. They just look very rich. I just think of like rich women on Park Avenue wearing, like deep gray gabardine suits and stuff. So very good. There's a Teacup Kitten. I think there's a cat like this and here. I think instead of having this like teddy bear stuffed toy, I think it has a bat or something with red eyes. It's cute. I'll see if I can find it to show. Again, there's a jumping cat with a mouse. Could be the electrified cat. Not sure. In the other one. So good color. See if I can maybe kneel back a little bit. More in the distance to get them both side by side to compare the color. But so here we have, there's the pumpkin kitten. Here is the cat with the bat and the little devil headband. So you can see the bat there. And there's also something pink here. It looks like eyes. I'm not sure what that is going on there. Again, nice background color, and again, that variation in the background color is here in the throw as well. You can see it. That's not in the original. There's no variation in the tones, the background tones of the original throw. So again, that kind of, like I said, that mist, that spooky, scary movie mist. That somebody's going to get stabbed mist. What do we got here? Mouse, skeleton cat, bird. It's funny because I know this is a yawning cat, but whenever I have seen this cat in both patterns, I just think that this cat is screaming. This cat is like caterwauling. Is that the word? To me, this is not a yawning cat. This is a high maintenance problem cat. It's probably just yawning. And the tombstone, of course. Okay, so let me see if I can at least drape myself like an ancient Greek. my togas. See if I can't get something going here. Oh, here we go. Just to get the colors sort of side by side. And these are gonna be covered in dog hair. I just vacuumed already. Hair everywhere. Make myself another dog. So there you can sort of see the. Well, this is interesting. Not only the background color shift, change, which is nice, but it's a denser, right, smaller figures and more of them. Bigger figures here and less of them. Fewer of them. Fewer figures. So that does kind of make me think that maybe my suspicion about this pattern of where these cats look a little bit bigger might be the case. No. Again, just kind of nice to see them, the patterns together on a similar item, especially something like this where you have sort of big square, let's do the back with no pockets. Big square pieces of fabric to really, get a look at. But it does seem like they look a little smaller here, right? They look a little bit bigger here, almost. But I haven't measured, so maybe, like I said, maybe it's just an optical illusion. So very happy to get this. And the reason I ordered it was because I was feeling like I had no confidence in their custom bag order fulfillment right now. And then I really was concerned that I was never going to see my custom bags because I have a bunch on order now for like months, outstanding orders from months ago. And so I've been calling and not really getting anywhere and asking to speak to supervisors and not being put through supervisors even when I asked. And so I really had it. I just felt like for the amount of money that I have, pending to spend there on these orders, should get a little bit better customer service at the very least. They have been fulfilling custom orders out of the order in which they were received. I know this for a fact because us Vera ladies talk amongst ourselves. And so I was citing examples to them today and previously, but today I got a little bit more specific with dates. For example, I know of someone who ordered a tote on August 20th, a day after me, in the same pattern as me, and she got her bag on September 2nd. And I still haven't seen my bags. And so I was really worried. So something is not right there. But putting that aside, I can put all that aside and I can wait. I don't really have a problem waiting. I don't even really care if they don't make it to me by Halloween, because I'll always have them. I'll always use them. I'm not so tied to, like, I can't use this after Halloween and have them next year or whatever. I'm okay to wait. But I don't think things should be handled out of order. That really bothered me. There's a principle there that's not right. Hi, sweet girl. So, but beyond that is when you call customer service and they can't give you any real specific information on your order. That gets very frustrating. I know, well, if you weren't so busy stealing toys, you wouldn't be all hot and bothered and panting. Peaches is, she's a cattle dog mix. She's not as, her coat doesn't have as much of a double coat as the standard cattle dog, and my first cattle dog mix had a real thick coat. But she is very sensitive to heat nonetheless, whereas Rosie and Duke was similar. The hounds were similar. They just like to bask in the sun. They like the heat. Peach is a little sensitive to heat. She's a little hot. People are familiar with Seinfeld. They know what I'm talking about. So, when you call up and you're waiting for your bag, and the general customer service rep can't really give you any specific information on where your bag is in the production process, that's what gets frustrating too. It's like, okay, I don't have to have it instantly. I understand delayed gratification. But just reassure me it's being worked on, because if you're handling things out of order, then what's to say that, you won't run out of fabric when you finally get around to fulfilling, whatever orders you haven't fulfilled yet that you should have been doing before because they came in first. That was my big concern and what was getting me so upset. And the last call I had prior to today really was not handled well. On both our ends. I was not pleasant, but she was not helpful either, and she wouldn't put me through. I asked right at the start of the phone call, because it was not my first phone call, to be put through to a supervisor, and she wouldn't do it. She didn't do it. I don't know whether she's new and just didn't occur to her to do it. Whereas the first woman I spoke to today, who I think was named Kim, we had a perfectly pleasant conversation. She gave me as much information as she could about the status, but she couldn't see much. And then she said, let me put you through to my supervisor. I was telling her about how I happened to know from talking to other people that they had received their orders already, and I was explaining my concern isn't so much the wait, but just that it will sell out before it gets fulfilled. And so she put me through to a supervisor, and that woman was excellent too, and her name was Fran. And she gave me all this information. She had more information. She says that the customer service ladies are supposed to have this information, although it's a little bit more labor intensive to get to it in the system. But they they're training. They're in a process of training some new workers, and so they know there's room for improvement, and they're working on it. Not everyone is really familiar with the system yet, so she's telling me. And she said they're also training right now more sewers in the custom section, which I thought was interesting. And they want to maintain their level of quality there. So it's that, in addition to whatever other problems there might have been with things being fulfilled out of order, that also is playing into it. They want their bags to be up to the same quality, but they have these new sewers they're training, and so there's a sort of a slowdown. And then there was the rush with all the patterns, the switching out of the patterns, changing of the patterns in the custom section. So it's all sort of, combining for this perfect storm of delay. Anyway, she was able to, like I said, I repeated myself to her. I don't really care about when they're coming. I just want to know they're being worked on. And she was able to confirm for me that they are almost done with my first 4. I feel like it's 4 now because that's how backed up it's been. It's sort of ridiculous. So I guess I'm going to get clobbered with a big bill altogether. I would imagine they don't bill you until they fulfill the order. So, I had them sort of staggered. That's the only way I could do it, and now that's out the window. But things are coming, and so I think people should probably if they were worried like me, they can rest assured that things are getting more processed and further down the production line, and they do things in waves. She said, sort of batches, and so they've got like a group of orders they'll send in a wave. They call it a wave, and they send it to start getting that wave to start getting produced. And so, my bags, those bags anyway, are already in a wave that's being worked on, as opposed to in a wave that's sort of waiting now next to begin processing on. So I thought that was all very interesting, and she was really helpful and pleasant, and really restored my faith in the company a little bit, because like I said, I was just I was feeling done. So thank you to Vera Bradley and the good customer service. I feel like that they think it's important, and I wasn't feeling like they thought it was important prior to this, but they do. They just are training new people, and they're trying. So I really changed my attitude, and I feel really excited to get the custom stuff in, and people had asked me to compare this to the custom when I get it, and I'll do that. So this should be a fun video. Anyway, so enough rambling, and I have to get back to work. And I hope people found that just a quick look at this, or not so quick anymore if you're still here. I'll look at the pattern. It's fun and helpful, and hopefully see you next time on Vera Bradley Bag of the Day.